Welcome to my latest experiment. This is a big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. For real. Fuck how you feel. Don't care about your 2 cents unless it's going towards the bill. Welcome to the Guy and Harley podcast. I'm Guy Pigden.
And I'm Harley Neville. Feel, Bill. Feel, Bill.
It's half rhyme.
That's a non-rhyme.
It's a half rhyme.
That's a half rhyme is another word for something that half doesn't rhyme.
Yeah. And now the half does.
Feel, Bill.
Look it up, man. It's in the English. It's one of those things. Half rhymes.
All right. Well, who was that lyrical genius?
That was Big Sean.
Big Scene.
Big Scene. Is
Big
the other one.
Big Scene, as us New Zealanders not from the ghetto call him.
There's another verse in that track which is from his biggest hit, which is "I Don't Give a Fuck About You."
Yeah. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
There's some good lines in there, but there's one where he's like, and everything that I do is my first name. These girls chase something, she's got a bird brain. But the thing that I never understood, he was like, everything that I do is my first name, right?
Yeah.
And what he means by that is everything that he does is big, because his first name is Big Sean.
Right, yeah.
But it doesn't really make sense because his first name is Sean.
Yeah.
It's not Big Sean. It's
Yeah.
his name is just Sean.
Yeah.
So there's logic confused me there.
Yeah. Well, there's the issue, mate. Don't use logic when listening to rap lyrics. That's the problem.
Clearly not, but I was dwelling on that for a long time, unnecessarily so.
Mm-hmm. So that's good. That's what keeps you up at night.
That's what keeps me up at night.
Fucking Big Sean and his lyrics.
Yeah, so that was what keeps me up at night. Whereas the other day when I went to get a mince pie, what did you say to me? Can you remember?
I don't know, like some men just want to watch the world burn?
Yes.
Did I say that?
Yes. You said, and I was like, yes, I'm just going out the shop to get a pie. You go, yeah, and some people just want to see the world burn. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then you went into some fucking vegetarian spiel.
Well, all I'm saying is that meat is literally destroying the world, and it's your fault. That's all I'm saying. But we'll just move.
This is what I have to deal with when I go up the road to get a pie.
Yeah, this fucking guy, huh? Now
he claims he's not a hippie. Harley claims he's not a hippie to me, right? He's going to a slam dance. Is it slam dance or just slam
dance? Get with the program, son. It's a slam poetry competition. I've entered a slam poetry competition.
He's telling me he's not a hippie though.
Now hippies don't do slam poetry.
A hippie / hipster. He's not. He has not embraced that. Before he said that he had to kick off his uncomfortable hipster shoes.
Yeah, before we recorded the podcast, I had to kick those bad boys off.
Get into his ridiculous gorilla slippers. And then he's doing slam poetry, but he's just a normal guy.
I'm a normal
guy. He's still a skater punk rock kid.
Listen,
all right?
I might be wearing gorilla slippers right now as we record this,
and preaching,
and I might still think that meat's destroying the world,
and using Dark Knight quotes on me when I go to eat a pie.
The real sort of irony of it all is that I'm the face of the New World Master Butcher ad. So I'm such a hypocrite. Yeah. But to be fair, you can buy free range meat at the New World Master Butcher.
Although, are you advertising that?
I'm advertising the butchery
just
in general.
Right.
So I'm advertising the meat industry. Let's cut the shit. But yeah, well, that happens. Speaking of that slam poetry, though, I've entered this competition. I'm completely ill prepared. It's going to be tomorrow night, and so a couple of nights ago for you listeners, and basically you got to get up and do 3 poems, and it's out in Otara, which is like the ghetto of Auckland. It's where all the rappers come from, and I'm going out there and doing these 3 poems, but my main poem, the one that I'm actually good at, is 4 minutes 20, not 3 minutes 10, and it can only be a maximum of 3 minutes 10. So I've got a big problem. So basically I'm going out there to do 2 poems which are just, they're fine, but they're not like amazing, and they're not competition worthy, and then my main sort of one that I'm going to be doing is one that I've literally never ever performed before anywhere, and it's probably not really finished. So basically I'm fucked.
But you're going to debut that.
Well, yeah. So what I'll do is at the end of this podcast, if you hang around and listen, kids, I'm going to do this brand new poem for you at the end of this podcast.
Man, so hold on to you.
So hang around. I'm just saying hang around.
Hold on to your dicks, because
here comes a new poem.
new poem on the way. Like an exclusive Guy and Harley podcast. This is the Guy and Harley podcast. We didn't really. Did you say you were Harley Neville?
Yeah, we did all that.
I'm a little bit tired. I have not slept.
Guy's done one of his infamous
Classics.
benders.
Like a bender being I miss a day of sleep, basically.
Yeah. So when was the last time that you slept?
So I slept.
It's now 8:15 p.m. on Wednesday night.
Yep.
What time did you get up?
So
last?
I actually got up at 8:15 p.m. last night. But I only slept for like, basically what I did is I stayed up very, like, normally I go to bed when I finish work at 6 a.m. I normally go to bed just after I go to the gym or something.
Yeah.
But then yesterday I had some chores to do, so I did them, and then kind of one thing led to another.
Wanking.
One wankathon led to another.
Yeah. one of guys.
One wanking wormhole led to another.
one of guys grueling wank marathons. They can really drag out. If you get started, they can drag out.
I was wondering how long it was going to be take before you started making some masturbating jokes.
Yeah.
Well, a classic go-to.
Yeah, it's 6 minutes into the podcast. We're talking about wanking.
Jokes. So I went to bed at maybe 4 p.m.
Today?
No, yesterday.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So
yeah.
and then
so
I got
yesterday
up.
you slept from 4 p.m. till 8:15 p.m.
Yep.
So you slept 4 hours 15, and then you got up and went to work.
Yep.
And then this morning, when you came home from work, you went to the gym.
Yep.
And then you had some chores to do today.
Yep.
And then you went and did them, and now it's 8:15 p.m. today. Right. Yeah. That's not healthy.
It's not good.
That's bad for you.
I'm not making a habit out of it.
Yeah. But you have done this many times.
And also, this is your fault, because I was planning to go to bed.
Well, he was going to go to bed, but I was like, well, mate,
do the podcast.
Well, no, I was like, we have an obligation to our loyal followers. All 50 of them. We need to get this podcast done. I'm not available tomorrow. I've got the slam poetry business, you know? So you're just going to have to stay up for an extra hour.
I've got this 3-minute poem to rehearse all day tomorrow.
No. Because I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to rewrite the 4-minute 21 down to 3 minutes 10, and then rehearse the shit out of it so that I can actually remember it properly.
Well, I hope my suffering will bring you good fortune.
Well, I hope that too.
And
it has so far in my life.
That's true.
There's guys slaving away on the zombie film day in and day out to make me look good. So yeah, good.
I did want to talk about films, obviously.
Well, that's good, because while we're talking about the zombie film, today Guy and I went along to the distributor, Vendetta, and we signed a whole bunch of DVD covers and posters and stuff like that.
Director/main actor signatories.
Yep, with little notes, little unimaginative notes.
Well, what was
such
some
as
of your
thank you.
What was your funniest one?
My funniest one was probably the one I told you to write. I hope you survived. I survived a zombie holocaust. Guy Pigden, and then your signature. But otherwise, I wrote just random quotes from the film. So, like, for example, why don't I get a vagina? I wrote that on the poster. I thought that was reasonably funny.
That's okay.
And then the last one I did was I just wrote, I have a sore hand. Thank you. And then signed it,
Right. So I thought that was a reference to
Wesley. Oh, you don't want to.
Spoiler alert.
Don't say that. But he thought it was a reference to something in the film.
Yes. But actually, it was a reference to you writing too many autographs.
Well, no, it was kind of a little bit of both.
Right.
It was a bit of both. There was some.
I just basically
Some levels
wrote
to my humor.
total nonsense. I think one of them was watch this with your prettiest girlfriend.
Right. See, I should have thought of some more random shit to say. I basically, most of mine were just copy paste. Like, basically, I was just writing, "Thank you. I hope you enjoy it." But like, I'll tell you what though, it was a moment. It was a moment. Today was a moment for me because here we were, right, signing these autographs on this film that we've been working on for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, if you told 17-year-old Harley that, well, to be fair, 17-year-old Harley was an arrogant little shit, and he would have said, well, of course, you would have done it by the time you were 25.
Yeah.
You dickhead.
You fuck.
Yeah, you fag. We used to say fag a lot when we were in our teen years. We learned we don't say that anymore, but oh, you fag.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
So actually, when you say we would have been thrilled,
Well,
we would have been thrilled, but also very dismissive and disrespectful.
yeah. But I guess it was still a moment where all that hard work was paying off.
Yeah.
And it's pretty awesome to stop and think every now and then, well, holy shit, this film's actually coming out. And we're signing shit, and there's posters, and there's fucking, there's sold out screenings and DVDs and iTunes and all the rest of it.
And guess who signs things? Important people.
Exactly.
So that makes us important.
Yes.
We
exactly.
are important now. We have reached level of importance.
Which does actually bring me, I know you've got a topic about films, but it does actually bring me to my next topic about films.
Okay.
Which was, we are currently marketing a feature-length film with basically no budget.
Yep.
There is a small marketing budget, but which we don't have direct control over. And Guy and I are basically doing everything we can sort of outside of the traditional sort of places that the distributors are going to, and we're doing our best to basically to drum up sort of some publicity out of nothing. And so we've been working really full time on that lately, going really hard on it. Facebooking the shit out of things and emailing producers and reporters and people trying to get stories and all that type of stuff. And so it's actually been a full time job and been very difficult. And how's it been for you?
Well, I haven't liked it in terms of... I guess I'm kind of used to it just in the sense of like, it's like, zombie film 24/7 again.
Yeah, well, because just for the listeners, reference, the film is coming out on the 22nd of May, which is, by the time you listen to this, a week away or less.
I guess I think that my issue is, probably the same as you, is like I lie down at night and go, fuck... it's coming out in 10 days, and there's all these things we need to do, but we haven't done, or sort of do, but we can't, and it's all just very difficult to, when there's this kind of like, basically the train is running off the tracks, and you're quickly laying down a little bit more track, to hope that it will stay on the rails and not crash and explode in a fiery... ball of failure,
or or just go off the end of the rails and plop quietly into a tranquil lake, which is more likely
never to be seen again.
Nobody's heard about it. Nobody even knows. That's. I tell you what, something that concerns me, right, is that Housebound, right? Now, Housebound is this other New Zealand low budget, or lowish budget sort of horror comedy that was funded the same year as us, and they went on to be very well received. They had excellent reviews. They got into some great festivals. They had Peter Jackson endorsed it. Ant Timpson endorsed it, or Ant Timpson executive produced it, and used all his connections and that type of thing. Now, this film did really well. Like, it did, like it was everywhere. There was only hype, like it went to the same festivals as us, but, everyone really loved it, And so what really concerns me is, since Housebound came out, I've actually asked, quite a few different people. I've been like, oh, have you heard of that film Housebound?
Yep.
And they're like, no. Straight up. They're just like, no, I've never heard of that. I never heard of Housebound.
Yep.
And it's like, fuck, if Housebound, with all of that hype around it and all of that, Peter Jackson endorsed it, with all of that stuff.
Quote from PJ.
If people, Joe Average still hasn't heard of it, well, fuck, what chance do we have, man? That's what I worry about. That's what fucking makes me want to blow my head off.
This is the big issue, man. Penetration. it's really hard to get good penetration.
It is.
You're really struggling to really penetrate the market.
Yes.
And, you can be pounding away and doing everything you think you can.
Everything you think you should do.
And it's not even making a blip on the radar.
Yeah. And it's
people aren't even registering it.
Zero penetration.
Yeah.
An inch at best.
and it's scary, and it's sort of, but it's also the sort of reality of this new world that we're in, where and I think that's what people sometimes forget. You go, oh, sweet, I made a low budget film, and it cost me $10,000 to shoot it. You're like, oh, but then I do have to do the post production. You go, okay, well, that's
another 20.
Yeah, there's another 20 maybe. And then you go, oh, and then when I say post-produce it, that's it, finished, but then we've got to do all the deliverables. Oh, that's another 10. Oh, shit, so we're up to 40. Oh, okay. All right then. Well, I guess now we've got to get out to festivals. Oh, so it's sort of another $5,000.
Submission fees.
Yeah.
And then, so the film's actually going to come out. Well, how are we going to market it?
And then suddenly you go, oh, well, how are we going to market it? Well, what if we just spend $40,000 on it? $40,000 will not get you jack shit.
Yeah.
So already when you're thinking about this sort of super low budget film, if you actually want people to really clock it and be aware of it, you've got to be thinking they're going to spend over $100,000 on this $40,000 film.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're like, well, but the film only cost $40,000 and I'm risking I'm spending all this money on the actual, trying to get it out there, and suddenly you're kind of working against the whole thing that you were intending to create in the first place. And I think this is a problem that we're all having, where it's like, oh man, so the budget of your film, but then the marketing budget, that's a whole other thing that no one is sort of really aware of or prepared for until you go through it.
And we've kind of got the opposite problem anyway, because our budget for marketing is far, far, far smaller than the budget of our film.
Yeah.
But it's just still, it's really just not enough, basically. So the conclusion here, dear listener, is could you please share the I Survived the Zombie Holocaust trailer? Because that would really mean a lot to us. Even if you've already shared it, just share it again, post it on your Reddit. Tell you what, Reddit, we haven't penetrated Reddit that much, actually.
Yeah.
I've got to post it there. But yeah, Reddit, man. Jump on there. Anywhere you want. Just post anything to do with I Survived the Zombie Holocaust. Post it somewhere, please.
And also,
we need you.
When you post it, don't just post it, right?
Yeah. Say something. Give it an endorsement.
Don't just plop something on your page and then everyone goes, huh? What?
Yeah.
Don't
care.
You're like, hey, this is me. This is something I enjoy.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll enjoy it too. And suddenly people go, oh, okay, maybe I'll check it out.
But please don't say that it's your friend's film. Because that doesn't help. That doesn't help. It really doesn't. Say this. Say, wow, this looks interesting. What do you think, guys? Something like that.
Classic half trolling.
Exactly. So people will go like, oh, does it look interesting? I better click on it. And then they reply, yes, it does, or whatever they think. Or no, it doesn't. You wasted 2 minutes of my life on that trailer.
Or what did that guy say? I'm going to pirate it and hope that she gets them out for the boys.
Yeah, as that was a troll on YouTube recently. This looks like shit. I'm going to pirate it and hope that chick gets her tits out for the boys.
Did we mention that you re-trolled the troll on a previous episode?
You've got a very loose... No, we didn't. You've got a very loose definition of me re-trolling him, because basically all that happened was...
You provided him an hour and a half of entertainment. Really?
Basically what happened was on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, this guy posted this sort of shitty comment on the trailer, classic YouTube behavior, saying this technology can make student films look great nowadays, but the acting is shit and the accents are horrible, and I'm totally going to pirate this and just hope that the chick gets her tits out for the boys. And that
sent me into a rage.
That sent guy into a rage. I personally, I'm used to it. I manage the YouTube account, so I see it every day, man.
And I had to respond, and then he responded to that. Well, first you called him a motherfucker.
Well, I did, but I did that from my personal account, not from the Pigville account, because Pigville professionalism.
And he was like, hey, I prefer the term honest cunt.
Yeah.
And then I went in and I was like
honesty isn't stealing, motherfucker.
I was like, but it does make you a cunt. I would preface that with creepy, sad and desperate, but definitely not honest. So that was my sort of response.
Mm-hmm.
And then you chimed in with, hey, we talk about you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Check it out. And you provided
a
the
link.
link for him to click through, which is great. That's a re-troll in the troll.
I might even post this link for him to listen to.
Yeah, we've given it, he's a topic. What was his name? Yusuf or something?
Yusuf or something like that. I don't have it at hand right now, but yes.
I'm scrawling it on my walls at night, like I'm carving it in
blood and feces.
But yeah, anyway, so we've been working on some marketing stuff for the zombie film, and we're both sort of thinking like, what creatively can we do within our limited means to kind of help promote the film? And one of the ways is we were sort of doing a sort of a, I guess, just talking about the journey that it took for us to make the film and from where we started as filmmakers.
Yeah, so this is a video that we're making. We've shot it already, and it's essentially like a little doco, sort of just telling about Pigville up until this point, sort of, but with a focus on I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
And as it was...
Guys editing it now, but it's taking far longer than expected.
Wow, I expected it to take this long.
Right. Well, I thought that you thought it was going to be a little quick vlog sort of
Well, I
thing.
guess I always think that until I do any sort of thing, and then it turns out that it's a fucking nightmare.
Well, and then it turns out that if you want to do it properly, you can't just slap it together. You've got to mix the sound, and you've got to get the best takes
of footage.
Yeah, because Guy and I spent an entire evening filming this this scripted sort of doco about ourselves, and we kept on fucking up all the lines, and then Guy, of course, in post-production has to sit there at the computer and trawl through them all.
Yeah, we're all having a laugh at the time, like, we fucked it up again.
Oops, sorry, mate.
But I'm the one definitely who was not laughing.
Imagine how angry you'd be if I did some joke ones.
Yeah,
I do half of a really good take, and then I do some dumb joke, and I'm like, check it out, mate. And then later on, you're scrolling through it, or through. You're like, motherfucker, it's 2 a.m. I haven't slept since yesterday.
Yeah. So anyway, but it means that I've been looking basically at our entire lives from 16, 17 to now. Seeing what we've been doing, what we did, and all that stuff. And it's actually, it's pretty interesting. And it's also pretty you're like, fuck, we've come a long way.
Well, that's definitely true.
In many ways, the first reaction is like, man, we look terrible now. We look fucking terrible.
We look like shit.
We look like garbage compared to our young selves.
Literally 30 kilos heavier.
And it's just what happened there? That's the first thing.
Well, time is what happened.
Yeah, time is what happened. And then the second thing is, but it's one thing to look back when you're 50, but I still feel like we're in our prime.
Yeah. Well, we are. We're in the tail end.
Visually speaking, we're not.
Look, I personally think I'm one of those guys that's just gotten more handsome with age. I'm like a young George Clooney. That's probably how to describe myself.
You're barely recognizable. I'm going to have to put, I literally did think this. I was like, well, no one's going to believe that's Harley, so I'm going to have to put a subtitle, Harley Neville, underneath so we can associate these two people. Otherwise, you would never know that these are the same people. You just wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Look, the same is true of me as well.
16 years of hard living, man.
Yeah. But I also noticed that my voice is far more annoying when I was a teenager than it is now.
Yeah.
Now I feel like either I've heard myself so much that I've trained myself to speak better,
I don't think it's that.
Oh, I was 100% sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
Or just through the passage of time, I've taken on a slightly different vocal style.
Yeah.
But I feel like it must have been agony to talk to me back then.
Well, I think personally that it's really just a matter of any teenager is an obnoxious, annoying shit, and when you talk to them or when you see them talking to their friends, they to a 32-year-old man, they seem very annoying. So it is partially that you had a particularly annoying voice, but it's also to do with the fact that you're a 32-year-old man looking at a 16-year-old talking, and you're just like, shut the fuck up, you little cunt,
But that's the thing,
because you're just talking shit and it's annoying me.
But the thing is, I didn't have that issue with listening to you guys. It was only me that.
Well, then that shows that clearly it's also being too critical on your own self, because we're all critical of our own voices and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it was interesting to see, this sort of documentation, visual of what we've done, and it felt pretty good to see how far we've come along, and also just that I don't have enough time to put in all the cool stuff to show. There's so much stuff that I could show that I just am not able to because we don't have time. A wealth of interesting things, hopefully,
because this is going to be like a 5-minute video, right?
Yeah, I think it might be a bit more than 5, but yeah,
right. Okay.
it's sitting at 5:30 at the moment,
right?
But there'll be maybe a few extended bits, because the problem is you've got your voiceover, right? And then you can overlay images over that, but you can't really have talking or anything like that in those images.
So every time you insert a clip from one of our old movies
that you want to actually
hear, that takes a bit of time,
and
to
so
listen to those
makes it longer.
Lines of excellent dialogue. Yeah, right. Well, I'm quite excited about that coming out, because I think it could be, if it turns out good, it's essentially just a short doco about us, right? About Pigville, and it's like, well, if that comes out and is kind of cool, I actually think it could help us get a lot more fans on YouTube and so on, because it introduces us more in depth, to the audience. It's like, okay, now I know a little bit about their history. I actually give a shit about their zombie film.
Yeah,
which is the whole point of shooting it.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I did want to talk a little bit about Mad Max.
Okay, but hold that thought, because I need a piss.
Okay.
Too many beers.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the new Mad Max film, Mad Max Fury Road.
Yep.
Coming out tomorrow. I'm going to see it at 10 a.m.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Are you going to be up then? Nah.
Well, I'm open to the concept, because I do really want to see Mad Max, and I do really enjoy all these kind of post-apocalyptic sort of films. I'm a big fan of those, and also, obviously, I'm a fan of the originals.
Yep.
So I am very interested in seeing it.
Yeah, you're a huge fan of Tina Turner and Mad Max 3.
Yeah, exactly. And that little midget on the back of that big guy.
It's weird, because I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
And someone else was reminding me of what was in Mad Max 3, and that was one of the first things they said.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well, it's very memorable. It's a very memorable scene.
Well, I was like, oh yeah, that dumb, horrible bit.
Yeah. Well, see, to me at the time, it wasn't a big deal. I was like, yeah, awesome. Although later on, it gets parodied in it must be what's it called? Austin Powers. He has to fight a little guy.
Yes.
On the back of a big guy, and I was like, surely they're taking the piss here.
All right.
From Mad Max.
Right.
Yeah, it's that same thing. But yes, as you were saying.
So it comes out tomorrow. Now, I have seen a few reviews of this. I've seen quite a few reviews of this. It has not been given under a 9.
Right.
Now, there's a couple of very important things about this film which are worth talking about. The main one being that it's very much practical. So there's a very little visual effects.
Well, that's what you want.
And it's like kind of, it's been talked about as a sort of a throwback film, as a film that's bringing like sort of stunt work and practical effects back into play, and is saying like, fuck all, fuck the Avengers, fuck all this stuff, fuck 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what to say. But and because like this real car, fuck Fast and Furious, real car chases, real stunts, like really gripping shit has to be real for you to be truly engaged.
Well, agree 100%.
Oh, I agree too. And what I sincerely hope is that it demolishes Fast and Furious. But most likely it won't. And there's a few reasons for that. But, it's been great to see the positive response reviews-wise. They released a trailer which was phenomenal as well. And, in fact, I watched a bunch of trailers, and then I asked, like, the person that I went to see the film that I was watching with, which one she liked best, and she 100% Mad Max. And so... there's a lot of anticipation about this film, and now they're talking like this could be the best film of the year sort of thing, the best big blockbuster film. Cost $150 million. They shot it over 135 days in the Namibia.
I don't know, you tell me.
That desert.
Yeah.
That desert, right. Namibia desert, maybe. Sort of out in the middle of nowhere, and apparently, obviously, it was very, very difficult. And, so it's this big blockbuster film, but done completely the opposite of the way normal blockbusters are done. And there's kind of two ways it'll go. Either it'll be like a huge, roaring success, or it kind of won't. And then everyone will go, oh, well, it's stupid to go back to the old ways. And obviously
So we all need to go see it.
Yeah, so we all need to go see it. And, I think it's very important to... But, especially, it could be like this watershed moment. It could be the watershed moment of, like, everyone going, oh, yeah, that's right. Practical effects.
Are way fucking cooler.
And more believable when you become so much more invested in everything. And now I understand. And, what's happened is, a trend starts, visual effects, a trend starts, and then it just escalates and escalates until something comes along that's completely different and blows it all up again. And rejigs everything. And that's what I'm hoping Mad Max will do. So I highly encourage people to go out and see that. I mean, fuck, if you slog through Fast and Furious 7, Faster and Furiouser, and their fucking CG, Too Fast, what was it? Too Fast, Too Dubious.
Right.
I don't know. I made up something like that.
Right.
Like, how about actually seeing like a legit fucking car chase? How about seeing like a legit action film the way it was intended? And, they're saying, George Miller, because George Miller, he directed the first films, but he also directed like films like Happy Feet, the Penguin movie, the CG Penguin movie. So he has like a very diverse...
Which, as far as those CG movies go...
It's not bad.
I didn't hate it,
Another good performance in Robin Williams in that one.
Rest his soul.
So I think everyone should go out and see that. And I think, just like purely, hopefully, as like the cinematic landmark that takes us a bit further away from the visual effects and towards a bit more reality, and also I guess more of a challenging film in the sense of like not a story wrapped up in a pink little bow and presented to the audience, just something a little bit more thought-provoking and a little bit less cliche. I think we could all do with that right now.
Well, did you know, Guy, that there is a connection between us and the new Mad Max movie?
No.
Well, my friend, you need to go to my Facebook, at least. I'm not sure if maybe it's on yours. There is a picture of me with Nathan Jones. And now Nathan Jones is in Mad Max.
Yeah, he's like one of the main bad guys.
Yeah, he's one of the main baddies, and he's a big guy. He played I forget the name now, but he played the giant brute that gets killed by Brad Pitt at the beginning of Troy.
Yep.
In that one-on-one combat. Quite a cool scene, and he's been in various other things too. And he was also at the Sydney A Night of Horror International Film Festival in Sydney, and he was there, and we snuck in and I snuck in and got a photo with him, and because at the time he was there to promote Charlie's Farm.
Now, he was pretty good in it.
As far as Charlie's Farm goes, he was probably the coolest bit in Charlie's Farm.
And he played the titular
was there
Charlie.
Was there any titties in Charlie's Farm?
Yeah.
There must have been, but I don't remember them.
Yeah, there were.
Right.
Well, I fell asleep for a chunk of it, so I can't.
Guy literally fell asleep when we were watching Charlie's Farm.
You know something's bad when the movie lover like myself nods off.
I looked over and he was asleep. I took a photo of him.
He took a photo to document it.
Yeah, but so the very loose connection between us and Mad Max is that we met Nathan Jones once.
Well, this was going to be one of my classic Facebook updates, which I haven't got around to yet. Mad Max released on, what's the date tomorrow? The 13th?
Yeah.
May 13th. I Survived a Zombie Holocaust released May 22nd. That's called Blessings on Blessings.
Yeah. Okay, it was good. Yeah. So just put that out there. Any shameless thing is good. Today I posted a picture of a cute puppy, and I said, which I had at my house, and I said, this...
Which you had at your house to eat later on.
Yeah, it's dead now. it's powering this podcast. And so, yeah, I said, this puppy says you should watch I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. So, you've got to not be ashamed to be really shameless on the internet. People say, oh, self-promoter, and they bitch about it, but fuck them. Well, at least they're talking about your shit, right? At least they heard you. At least they probably watched it.
Also, you got like 40 likes on that, so people did enjoy that photo.
I think it's way more than that already.
Oh, that's just when I checked.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah, so...
But as for tomorrow, Mad Max, I am potentially interested, but
could be interested.
I do plan on sitting down and really nutting out this whole poetry business. Man, I'm concerned. I've entered a slam poetry competition. So there's 12 contestants, and I am one of them. Yeah. And there's an audience, and I'm going to get up there, and I've got to impress them. And there's going to be some good poets there, I'm sure.
Yeah. And look, you also are going to definitely sit down and, really nut out.
Yeah, I'll be nutting out. I'll be nutting out all morning.
So, it's a go. Yeah, but no, I think you'll do fine in the old poetry. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit. I went to buy some clothes the other day.
Yeah, so down at the old Salvation Army.
Down at the Sallies. Thank God for the Sallies.
Keeping filmmakers clothed since 1900.
1908. No, so I went, I was just picking up a few things, really. I wasn't really after any clothes, but I was like, I could do with some more t-shirts. I really need some more t-shirts, right? So, and I couldn't decide, like, they had the V-neck, they had the normal neck, they had, like, the button V-neck. They had a bunch of variety of t-shirts. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I basically got all of those t-shirts. They had them in different colors. So I got maybe, I don't know, 10 t-shirts.
You bought 10 t-shirts?
No, I got 10 t-shirts to try on.
Oh, I see.
Right.
I thought you bought 10 of them. I was like, whoa.
I got 10 t-shirts, right? I tried them all on.
Yeah.
I looked like a fat, disgusting, shameful piece of shit.
Yeah, well, welcome to your 30s, mate.
But I had this thought. I was like, right, so let me get this straight. I do not fit an entire t-shirt in this, a t-shirt in this entire store.
Yeah.
I do not fit t-shirts in this store.
The guy behind the counter just slowly walks you out.
T-shirts.
He's like, yeah, this shop's not for you, sir.
T-shirts in this store aren't for me. They are not for me.
Yeah.
Which also brings me to another point.
Well, aging is a bitch.
And also I've been going hard at the gym. I was feeling really good till I tried on all those t-shirts.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm making some good progress. I'm doing well. I'm feeling trim. morbidly obese. Actually.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the fucking mirrors, man.
Yeah.
The mirrors, the retail store mirrors, the changing room mirrors.
Yeah.
Why do they have to be so brutal?
Well, that doesn't make any sense. You'd think that the mirrors that have very flattering mirrors and light for the changing room, so you'd be like, yeah, I'll take it. It looks great. And then you waddle out of the store and you're like fat old guts everywhere.
Roll out of the store.
Your shit new t-shirt made in China by little kids.
Yeah. Well, and it just makes no sense. But every time, no matter what I'm doing, I will take off my top and go, oh my God.
I'm such a fat piece of shit.
This is an abomination. And it's those fucking mirrors, man.
It's not the mirrors, it's your fat fucking guts.
Well, yeah, but the mirrors are not helping it. The mirrors are not, like, enhancing.
Yeah. What, are you telling me that they should put flattering mirrors in the shops?
I'm telling you they should just put, like, less like, they could just be a little, like, I'm sure the mirrors that we have here.
No, but that would be a trick. That I'd feel tricked because you would buy something and then you'd walk out and then you'd check it out in a sort of a real mirror in real lighting and you'd be like, yeah, I shouldn't have bought this. I look like shit.
Well, that's probably why they don't do it. They go the other way to make sure that if it looks good, it really is good, and otherwise just accept that you look terrible.
I doubt they're that honest. I think it's just too difficult to make us look good.
Yeah, well, fucking DadBod, all right?
Well,
sign me up for this article, man, because Jesus.
Speaking of the DadBod, I mean, like, I've definitely gone downhill in the last, few years as far as,
No doubt.
body,
way down.
way down. But you know what? When I stop and I look at other 32-year-olds,
yeah,
I'm often like, damn, I'm doing all right, I'm like, hey, I'm okay, I'm okay, like so many 32-year-olds are just like fat old dads, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, look, that's true. But, we're definitely...
Well, we're on the slippery slope.
Yeah. But all I'm saying was a horrible experience.
Yeah, well...
Truly, truly horrible.
Now you understand what women go through. Women go through and they're way more critical of themselves. And so they go, out to buy some clothes and they look in the mirror. And that's why so many of them, they get so depressed after
I'm pretty sure
shopping.
They're going to find one dress that fits them in a whole store.
The whole goddamn store. Give me another goddamn Sambuca. We're drinking Sambuca at the moment.
Yeah, so I was quite horrified by that. Quite horrified and scarred by that experience.
Right. Well, look, let's talk about a 48-hour film I acted in.
Yeah.
I acted in a 48-hour film the other week. I mentioned it in last week's episode. And, it was really good. It was for the guys at Sideways Productions. It was called The Forest Room, and I went along to the screening the other night, and it was really, really well received. It came second. It got second in its heat.
So what does that mean?
Well, I'm not really sure. Okay. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Like, I guess that means it has potential to go into like the Auckland finals, maybe.
Right.
Like maybe all the ones that kind of place in their heats must then go through to the next round, and then go to the Auckland final. Maybe I'm totally guessing,
right?
But it was well received, and it was really excellently done. Like really high production values. You wouldn't know that it was done in 48 hours. It was a really great film. So really, I just wanted to brag about that and just say it was really good. So well done to the guys at Sideways Productions. If you're listening, keep up the good work, Ben and Alan and all of your associates.
Just a little note there, Alan.
Yeah.
Did not get a acting invite myself.
No.
To the to partake in the team. I wasn't actually doing anything that day.
Now, to be fair, I met with Alan like a year ago on a networking beer. Networking beers. That's where it's at, man. Networking beers. That's how you get roles.
That's how you get roles. Fucking fat rolls.
So I met with Alan like a year ago, kind of with the intention of one day working with him, and finally this 48-hour film was the one that led to it. But there is a lesson to be learned here, which is network with people. So,
right.
So keep that in mind.
That's where I've been going wrong. So we've got some listener questions.
Do we? Yes. So now look, we do have a listener topic here. Do you have any listener topics or just my one?
No.
No. Okay. So we just got one. Now it's I've got quite an extensive sort of brief here, but basically, Megan, who I think I won't say her last name because I don't know if she wants to do it publicly, wanted us to talk about the spirit molecule, which is DMT. Now, it's a naturally occurring psychoactive compound which exists already in our brains. You know, I think it's something to do with the way we dream and so on. You know, these. Imagine if you were dreaming while you're awake. You know, the crazy shit that happens in your dreams. If you take this DMT, you can kind of make it happen while you're awake. You know, it's sort of a way to I don't know, explore. I've never tried it. I'd like to. I'm totally open to the idea.
Reach a higher power.
Yeah, and it works in it's also in sort of various other areas. It's in like grows naturally in various plants and stuff like that. So this DMT or dimethyltryptamine, something to that effect. So basically, she sort of just wanted us to mention that and said, how can it be a sort of illegal and classed as a Class A substance when it occurs naturally in your brain anyway?
Oh, I don't know, because it makes you trip your balls off.
Yeah, well, I guess, you can
definitely do bad things when you're tripping if you're not with responsible people.
Yeah, I guess, any mind-altering substance has that effect.
Yeah.
I personally, DMT, I haven't tried it. I know that, like, Joe Rogan and these other sort of podcasters, which are not as good as our podcast, they talk about it quite a lot, and it's got a very good rep. It's this.
You're on DMT right now.
I'm on it.
Saying that we're better than their podcast, but continue.
But so basically, it's this very interesting and popular thing, but what I haven't tried it yet, but I will one day, and I think that the reason why it's still a Class A substance, Megan, is simply because the laws are all wrong, and we really, really need to get rid of prohibition. It's just not doing anything. It's just hurting people. It's costing billions, literally billions of dollars. It's putting, hundreds of thousands of people behind bars all around the world, and basically, whether it's DMT, whether it's weed, whether it's some of the nasty drugs like heroin, all that stuff, it needs to be just regulated, controlled, prescribed, and that way we can get people off of these substances, or people can do it legally and safely with
hooked on them,
tax revenues going back to the people who like medical and so on, blah blah blah.
Well, I heard this interesting story which apparently was posted on Reddit, which was basically about a guy who essentially basically lived an entire life, right? And he did all these things. He had a career, he had a job, he had a wife, he had kids, he did all this shit, right? And then he woke up and he was passed out in a gutter. He'd been knocked out. And basically he'd lived an entire lifetime in the space of however long it was for him to be knocked out. Because of the way he was knocked out, the damage that it did to his brain. And he was sort of very nostalgic for that life that he
missed.
And also just that idea that, he was like, holy shit, I did all this. I've been doing all this for a lifetime, and now I'm back here. Like, this is fucking nuts. And I understand that can sort of be the experience where time sort of stretches. And there's certainly when I was took some of that. What was that stuff that we had?
We have some nasty synthetic high,
and you just have no idea what's in there.
Yeah, those nasty legal New Zealand synthetic highs.
But when I first did that, I tripped my nuts off.
Yeah.
And I fully...
Oh, are you talking about salvia?
Oh, salvia. That was
okay, no. Salvia is awesome.
Was it? Yeah, it was
salvia is
salvia.
The boss.
Oh, I had salvia.
Okay, that's nothing like those horrible synthetic highs. Salvia is awesome.
And I was like...
Yeah, that time slows down.
Time really... It's the same. It felt more like 5 years to me than a whole lifetime.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because that's what I was going to say too. I was going to say, now I haven't tried this DMT, but I have tried salvia, and it did like slow time down for me and make me feel as if I had lived a life, and then you sort of wake up out of it and, you're back to this life. So it's almost exactly what sort of he was talking about, but maybe not a full lifetime, or maybe not 5 years, but, a long time feels like it's passed.
Yeah, well, I found the experience to be quite nightmarish because I was trapped in a nightmare.
Right.
And so it was quite horrible because there seemed to be no end.
Well, I think that, the thing about drugs is I reckon that it might be a bit sort of subjective. I don't even know whether it's subjective or objective, but subjective. Like, I think that some people have a predisposition for not enjoying drugs, you know, and I suspect that you might be one of those people.
Clearly,
for the most part, you know, whereas I'm the opposite. I think like I can have drugs and, you know, acid and so on, and I can kind of enjoy it and you know, see it for what it is, and it's okay. But I would imagine it would be quite horrible to not enjoy it and then just be sitting there waiting
Trapped.
for it to end. You know, like you can't get out of it.
Trapped, and then that was the thing. It was like, so there's this horrible nightmarish reality, and then I want it to be a dream. I want to wake up. I want all these things, and none of them happen for another 5 years. In my mind, and you know what I felt afterwards is like I felt that like my brain, like someone had shattered my psyche to pieces and kind of reassembled it. But reassembled it not quite correctly.
Not quite right.
And that kind of feeling lingered for a good half year.
Are you exaggerating?
No, not at all. Like
from one time smoking salvia, you felt fucked up.
Yeah,
for
like
half a year.
definitely just not right. Like it was just like, is my sort of level of you know, just how I mentally feel going to return to the way it did.
So you would obviously never do it again.
Well. Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to buy 5 years.
Yeah, right?
You know, for one thing. I mean, for me...
Had you been drinking alcohol? Or
I
think we had been,
drinking,
right? I think we'd been partying and then we smoked it, and that's probably not the best,
but also,
scenario.
Like, I think maybe if I'd been given a bit of warning going in, but basically old fucking numbnuts Harley.
What did I do?
Was like, you know, I was like, so what is this? He's like, you're like, oh, it's just like weed, man.
No.
And I was like, okay.
Where was
sweet.
this?
And you're like, you're gonna go for a ride on the dragon, bro.
Chase the dragon, man.
Yeah, literally said something about the dragon.
Chase the dragon, bro. Yeah, but
and I was like,
where,
whatever that fucking means.
Where was this?
Thanks for the weed.
Yeah.
Massive toke.
Where was this? Where were
This was at a party, like someone's flat.
Jeremy's flat in Dunedin?
No, I don't think it was Jeremy. I think it was like a random person's flat. We didn't go
near
there.
my old house.
Yeah, near your old house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't blame me. I'm pretty sure that was my first time as well.
Yeah, but all you
I'm
had
pretty
to do
sure
was
that was.
go,
I could be wrong.
This is a mind-altering
I'm pretty sure that was
substance.
literally my first time as well.
Yeah, but you just
on the same night.
You just had to say that, and
Well, I was high off my brain, man. What did I know? Stop listening to me.
But look, I mean, for me, it's a case of like, what happened to just rolling a big old doobie and having some sex.
Yeah, well, isn't sex on weed just amazing?
It's the best.
Right, guy?
But it really is. Like, you know, I was like, what do you mean, like, it's better? Like, I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's a load of old shit.
Yeah.
You're going to dull your senses with this weed business.
And
then I fucking smoked one, and then I, like, even when we were just kissing beforehand, I was like, oh.
You're like, I'm about to come.
I was like, oh.
I'm coming.
I'm coming so hard.
Yeah, I heard him from the next room. From the next room.
So, you know, that was, and then I was suddenly a big fan.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not against all drugs or anything
yeah.
like that. Just whatever works for you, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's the key, right? So that's the key, Megan. I reckon that at the end of the day, it's illegal. DMT's illegal because the laws are all wrong. It's really down to each individual. It should all be, the prohibition should be taken away. It should be controlled. You should be able to get what you need from chemists. If you're an addict, you should be able to go there and get a prescription. And basically, you know, prohibition just in its current form is not working. So I reckon we need to get rid of it. And I reckon that's the issue. So thank you, Megan, for that good topic.
Thank you very much. Now, just leading on from sex with the old weed.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you like to have some?
Can we smoke some now? No. What I was going to say is that that brings me to a little topic that I thought I'd mention, which was drinking and sex.
Yeah, which is the opposite.
Which can be quite the opposite.
I mean, for me personally, like drinking and sex, pretty much like not even 9 times out of 10, 99%
Yeah.
of the time, I simply cannot come. Just can't do it. Like, it's just almost certainly not going to happen.
Well,
You
isn't
know?
that a gift in some situations?
Not for me.
Yeah, no,
You
not
know,
for you.
and let's be honest, it's about me.
It's all about me.
Me. So no, you know, like you know, if you're gonna go through all that effort and all that risk and all that, you know, all the rest of those things associated with sex.
Well, when you say risk, you mean sexually transmitted.
Well, if you're going to go, well, I guess it depends on the person. Like, maybe if you got really drunk and just had sex with your girlfriend, it's not a big deal. But if you are single and you go out to a club and meet some girl and, you know, have sex and you're just like shit-faced, you know, you at minimum you want to be coming at least, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to go through all of that, take all those risks, you want to at least be coming. Now, look, I can't even come when I'm drunk, so, well, not usually. So basically,
Bummer.
it's the opposite of weed. Now,
It is, yeah.
Now get me high. Now let's go have some sex.
Okay, well then, but let me ask you this, right?
Yep, I'm ready.
Because I was thinking about this, it's like, I'm not a fan of the first time sex without having had some drinks.
Yep.
You know, I'm really like, oh my god, this whole
What you mean?
do.
Wait. So you mean like you're not a fan of having sex for the first time with a person
Sober. Well, I guess
But to be
say I'm
fair,
not a
have
fan.
you ever done that?
Well, that's
Like-
what I'm saying. Like that begs the question for both you or I, whether that has happened.
Yeah.
Like because you know I was trying to think back, and I would say that it's probably happened one.
when you were 16.
Or no, 'cause I think we had some drinks. That, you know, we might have had a couple of.
Not
drinks.
we as in you and me, right?
No, I mean me and my girlfriend, obviously.
Because that was a one-off, bro.
So you know, but I that's what I thought about. I was like, yeah, and then I was trying to think like, you know, I might, you know, like what's going to happen the next time? Well, I'd really like to have some drinks when it's the first time. Now, what's your take on that one?
No, I'm not on board. Now. I'm racking my brain trying to think.
Of a time that
Oh, no. Yeah, I can definitely think of times when, I mean...
for the first time though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because it might be like you've hooked up, previously you've hooked up, maybe while drinking, you've had a kiss, you know, but you haven't had sex. And
Right.
then you got the follow-up date, you know.
You
and
just went in there sober, did you?
like,
Sober driver.
well, like, I'm thinking of one right now, which will remain anonymous, which was like, went out for like sort of a drink, but I was driving, you know,
Yeah.
like I was still driving, you know, it wasn't like I was like drunk or anything like that, you know,
Yeah.
and then we went home and got it on, you know. But also, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, like, I remember sort of, maybe not. Yeah. I mean, it's such an integral part of it, isn't it? What do? You go out for a drink at least, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how often have you gone out and been like, hey, would you like to have a coffee? And then taken her home and, like, boned her.
A coffee,
Like,
man. What a
how-
weirdo.
Yeah, how would you like a coffee? And then you take her home and have sex with her.
How would you like a frappuccino?
It just doesn't happen that often, I guess. So, I mean, I feel like I must have done it, but I admittedly, I can't think of an
Well, I was trying to think
example.
I was trying to think of an example, and I can't really think of one.
Right. Well, you know, it's because at the end of the day, it is a social lubricant, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
even if you
well-
just have one or two beers, you know, you kind of, it's not so much about like getting the person drunk or anything like
No.
that. It's more like you have a drink or two together, and then you sort of bond and you become a bit more conversant and, you know, a little bit less, you know, a bit more comfortable, basically.
And you go, hey, it's okay that I didn't fit every single T-shirt in that store. I
Exactly.
feel all right with taking my top off now.
Yeah, I'm okay with my body. Yeah. So yeah. But like, in short, I reckon that alcohol and sex still not that great.
They're not that great, but are they a required kind of thing for that first time?
Maybe for New Zealanders and our horrible drinking culture that we have, you might be onto something there. You might be onto
I think
something
it
there.
could be.
But I'm sure there's many listeners out there who have had sex sober. Right, guys? Right? Comment in the link below. You know, comment below.
Stone cold silence washes over the Pigville podcast page.
Again. What do you got on that list there?
Well, that is pretty much it. I
Okay.
think.
All right. Cool. Well, in that case, I've got a couple of topics. One, I have been shortlisted for a reality show, which will remain nameless. Mm-hmm. But I've been shortlisted.
But it rhymes with cock.
So it's called The Sock. It's about extreme putting on your socks really quickly, and who can do it best. So it's a reality show that I've been shortlisted for, and that's very exciting because it's like a prime time sort of show that will be on TV. Every day, or it's not every day, maybe like 4 times a week or something, prime time for like 10 weeks or something like that. So that's very exciting, but I haven't got it yet, but I'm shortlisted, so that's pretty cool.
Right.
I also have been shortlisted for a commercial.
Oh, look, Harley, this is the Guy and Harley podcast. It's not the Harley Bragg podcast.
Well, but we're keeping up to date with what's going on with Pigville, mate. I know you're a little upset. Not much is happening at the moment, You got your wee film coming out. Didn't you write that or something? But, big shit's happening in the Nev's life.
the Nev's Bragg cast.
So, no, we're talking about what's happening. So I've been shortlisted for a commercial, right? And that's very exciting because that doesn't happen that often for me. I'm not one of these A-listers. So it's a big deal. It's big news in my life.
12 G's.
Well, that is how much it pays. I wasn't going to tell them that, but yeah.
Oh,
well, it doesn't really matter. I haven't told them what brand it is. But yeah, it pays $12,000 if I get it. So fucking yeah.
Yeah. Now, what would you do with what's your number one for that $12,000?
Well, I've got to pay off the $3,000 I owe for the color grade on the zombie film.
Well, let's wipe debt paying off. What's the next thing?
Well, you can't wipe that. That's what I'm going to do with it.
You go, that's it. It's gone after that.
It's gone. No, really. I mean, I'd have say I had like $5,000 left after that. Basically, I might pretty much put it in my savings.
$5,000 can't get you shit.
Exactly.
In this day and age.
Exactly. I'll put it in my savings, and that would make my savings $5,000.
Right. Well, I wanted to mention I've coined a new phrase. I coined a new phrase with you the other day.
Yeah, what was that?
When someone found out you were a maker and they turned into a hater.
Right, yeah, I remember that.
And that basically means is that you're having a great conversation with someone. Normally a friend. Yeah. Right? You're having a good conversation, or someone you haven't seen in a little while, you're having a chat, you're having some good chats, you're like, blah, 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 I'm this, da, 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 da. And then somehow it comes up that you're like, oh yeah, I'm actually shooting a film, or I'm actually
writing a book,
or I'm actually acting in this thing.
I'm painting a painting. I've been shortlisted for a commercial.
Oh shit, I've been caught out. My own fucking phrase. And then basically the other person just turns instantly negative and sour about it. Like, you're not even necessarily success, but I think it's more
your attempt at doing something.
Well, your creative endeavor is an insult or a slight to them.
Well, it's New Zealand, man. It's that whole tall poppy thing. It's that whole, well, you shouldn't be trying that because if you succeed at that, well, that's going to make me feel bad about the fact that I'm up to fuck all. So you shouldn't even try. And what's funny about that is when that conversation came up between Guy and I, it came up because I had been at a local video store and I'd spoken to this guy many times, this guy behind the counter.
It's good mates.
And then on this, I was like, well, we've got this film coming out. How would you feel about us putting up a poster in your shop? And he wasn't the boss; he just works there.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh yeah, maybe, maybe. And then I was like, and he was like, what's the film called? And I was like, oh, it's called I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. And he was like, oh, another one. He literally said that, and then he was like, oh, well, they might put it up, but they don't really put up horror posters in the public area because it's scary for the kids. So
this fucking guy,
just kind of just not interested,
This fucking this Tarantino, this wannabe Tarantino behind the fucking shelf there, fucking imagining he's fucking too good for it all of a sudden. But it does happen where the kind of people just turn on a dime. I think you get this, it goes one way or the other. Like set of people, the nice people go, oh wow, that's really cool, like tell me about it. Oh really, that's really interesting, I want to know more. And then you got these other people that kind of start really subtly shitting on it, with no, they don't
subtle shit,
they don't come out and blatantly say anything. They just really kind of negative, and kind of everything is a slight insult to you. So look, creatives out there, be wary.
Just ignore those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
All right. So we're drawing to a close, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I better finish on this poem that we promised.
All right. Well, before you do, I'll say one last thing.
Okay. Well, you could probably say something after the poem.
Got a little shout out to Nick Barner.
Yep. Nick Barner, top man.
Who I have failed to mention this a couple of times, but he donated some Pigville supplies to us.
Yeah.
When I was down in Dunedin, and provided a new phone.
Right. And do we have a plug for his business? Do you know the name of his business?
I do not know the name of his business.
You are a shit friend.
I don't think he told it to me, to be honest.
Right.
So, I'm blameless in this.
Well, look, if you need your chimney swept in the Dunedin region, get in touch with Guy or I, and we will pass you along to him, because he's a top man and he knows what he's doing.
And I can contact him on my new phone that I'm using all the time. But it's really good. But, it was just very nice to see, this is just someone who's a fan. This is someone that enjoys our work. And, it's nice when people want to help you.
Yeah.
It's quite
rare as well to have somebody out there that actually wants to support you when you're doing something creative. It's like, it just doesn't really...
Yeah, you're kind of stumbling around and then someone goes, hey, how let me help you. And you're like, what do you mean help? Help's not a thing that we get. We get abused. Are you sure you don't want to abuse us?
You sure you don't want us to torrent our film and say that it looks shit?
That would be much more normal. So that was really wonderful to catch up. I have a little chat with them and also just, to help out like that. That's fantastic. So thank you very much.
So you're the man, Nick Barner.
Thank you.
All right. So this poem, you ready, mate?
Here we go. Yeah, I'm ready for your 8 Mile slam dance poetry.
You amped? All right. So this one is the one that's not really finished, and I don't have a name for it. So just sit down and be subjected to it.
What's the tentative title?
Hunters and Gatherers.
Okay.
Maybe?
Sure.
All right. It goes like this. We were hunters... Sorry, hold up. Here we go. Cough, cough. We were hunter-gatherers in our youth. Time stretched on and on. Our world was huge. The Paleolithic was 2 million years long. Then something happened. Our voices began to change. The agricultural revolution ushered in a new age. For 10,000 years, we developed and grew. We became self-aware as we escaped the womb. We questioned our place and rearranged our priorities. We set up dogma and created an authority. Finally, we reached our tumultuous teens. The industrial years numbered 150. With coal-powered killing machines, we marched on lands, bringing nations to their knees. July 1945, we entered the Anthropocene with the first atomic test titled Trinity. We became death, the destroyer of worlds. And thrust into our hands was a new responsibility. No longer us and them, no longer you and me. We became one, a global community. Now we're in our 20s, and it's time to grow up. We have no need for deities. Enough is enough. It's time to look to the future while contemplating our past, to shake off our shackles and to turn to the stars. We are in the midst of the technological revolution, a time of unprecedented change and unprecedented pollution. The stakes are higher now than they've ever been before, so it's no longer about who's rich and who's poor. It's about the very survival of our species and all we have created. It's about our obligation to the preceding generations. So who gives a fuck about X Factor? That's it.
Nice.
That's it currently.
I like the end.
I like the bit when it finishes.
I enjoyed that one. I thought it was really good. What did I think about that? No, I just thought I enjoyed it. I thought that it was really solid. Yeah. The X Factor reference
I just like the bit where it
was
ends.
valid.
So that's what I'm thinking about leading with on this poetry thing tomorrow night. I do have this. There's like one other little verse in it that I haven't really figured out how to get in there that kind of addresses a bunch of like current issues. But basically, that's what I'm going to work on tomorrow.
Now, I noticed there's less rhyming in this one.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, compared to the God one, which these guys haven't heard.
I guess so. I think. I just think of that lady that was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that Cat in the Hat guy inspired me.
Yeah, well, because after...
Again, kind of a hater, like,
yeah, kind of a
maker.
Well, you got to explain the
sort of
situation. So basically, I got up and I did my poem for the very first time ever. I did this, like, religion poem called Gravity, and it was all about religion, and you can find it on my Facebook.
Moved people.
It was
People were clapping. Moved them out of their seats.
Yeah, moved them out the fucking door.
No.
No, it was good.
They enjoyed it.
And then, so basically, I did this poem, and then, but it does rhyme, and then this woman got up
because
afterwards.
That is more difficult.
To be fair.
Yeah.
And yeah, this woman got up afterwards, and she said, oh, but I don't remember saying Cat in the Hat. I remember saying, oh, the guy that was rhyming inspired me, so I've done a rhyming one myself.
Oh, well, maybe I just made that
You
up.
just added in some Cat in the Hat, some insults about Cat in the Hat to it. You're like, yeah, so Harley was at the poetry the other night, and this chick gets up and goes, oh, the Cat in the Hat guy inspired me, so now I'm going to do a shitty rhyme.
Or maybe Dr. Zeus?
Right.
Maybe she said Dr. Zeus.
There might have been some reference, yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know, but anyway, I didn't think it was a valid criticism, to be honest.
No.
I just thought it was kind of funny how she said it.
Well, so I think that might draw the podcast to a close.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah, let's think about our imminent demise.
Yep.
And how we're in deep trouble. And let's just finish on that note.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. We're all a bunch of idiots watching X Factor while the world ends.
And
let's leave it at that.
This is Sunday. You're really hungover and depressed already, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry. My bad.
I did have one last observation.
Okay.
Heath Ledger's Joker, right?
Uh-huh.
Ladies and gentlemen, right? Mm-hmm. Take it one more degree, and he's a real fruity Joker. Mm-hmm. He's really borderline.
Yeah.
Like, if you just took that kind of way that he speaks, just one more degree, and he's your camp gay friend.
But he didn't. He walked the line, my friend.
We have to do something about the Batman.
Yeah. Well, I think he pulled it off. He walked the line.
I'm not saying that he didn't pull it off. I just thought that was funny.
All right. So thank you very much for listening. Be sure to give us your topics for next week on the Guy and Harley podcast Facebook page or on the Pigville Productions Facebook page, or add me, Harley Neville.
Do you know how I got these scars?
What I was going to say was Twitter, GPZ, at GPZ, if you want to find this guy. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Bye. You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.